what you do when you have a 0 and a negative exponent. So a 0 exponent, let's talk about that first. So let's say you have 2 to the power of 0. You might see the 0 and you might be tempted to just write, oh, that must be 0. It's like 2 times 0. But it is actually not that. Anything to the exponent of 0 will always be 1. Whether it's 2 to the 0, x to the 0, whether it's 1,024, just picking a random number, that to the 0, well, that's also going to be 1. They will always equal 1. And part of the reason for this is an exponent to the 0 is like dividing a number by itself. So what I mean is, if you had something like, 4 squared over 4 squared, we know a number divided by itself, whether it's 4 squared over 4 squared or like 5 divided by 5, that's always equal to 1 itself. But in this particular case, the 4 squared over 4 squared, using our division rule, which tells us that exponents subtract, well, that's the same as 4 to the 0. And, well, if 4 to the 0 is the same as that division part, 4 to 0 must equal the 1 itself. And that's kind of a quick look at the basis of that particular exponent law. What about negative exponents? A negative exponent is like division. So what do I mean? Let's take a look. So if you have 3 to the negative 2, what we do if we have a negative exponent is we turn this 3 into a fraction, or 1 divided by 3. So that's why I said like division. And now instead of writing it with a negative sign, the exponent, it's just going to become that exponent, but positive. So negative 2 to 2 once you do the flipping. So it just negative exponents flip your number. And what if you have an actual fraction? So what if I had like 3 over 4 to the negative 2? Well, in this case, if you have a full fraction, you flip the entire fraction itself. So instead of writing 3 over 4, 4 is going to go on top, 3 is going to go on the bottom. And now instead of negative 2, you could write that as an exponent 2. So it's just reversing fractions, flipping it over. And in this case, we could simplify this a little more. If you have an exponent outside a fraction like that, you could write it as 4 squared over 3 squared. So applying that exponent to each part inside the fraction, which as numbers would be 16 over 9. And that's a look at zeros and negatives as exponents.